All right. Welcome to the Booze and the Bees.
We're the hosts, the boobies. It's us.
I was going to say I don't know what I was going to say. Something about a hive. But
We're the boo hive.
Welcome to our hive.
Welcome to the boo hive.
Ooh, it's nice and sticky.
It's sticky, but it's not honey.
I saw this video of people eating raw honeycomb, like fresh raw honeycomb. It made me want to eat it. But I don't like honey.
Honey's the best, and I love honey, and I've had fresh honeycomb, and it's good, but it's waxy. It's wax, right?
Oh.
So you basically just chew the wax, then you spit the wax balls out, and you eat all the honey. Oh. So it's actually like the least pleasant way of eating honey, but it is an experience if you haven't done it.
Yeah, it looked really cool and like really satisfying. Like when they took bites out of it, it was like, it's just like.
Yeah.
And then, but some of them were like dripping, and then those ones I was like, ugh. Just because I don't know why I don't like honey.
It's the best. It's really healthy, and it's the only food that doesn't expire ever.
Do you want to tell people why? Also, it's good to eat honey. Because you know how some people are like, save the bees.
Oh yeah, because it helps bees. The more honey you eat, the more beekeepers you have, and they keep bee populations really good, and that helps the planet. So instead of having a bee alternative, like certain vegans do, you actually hurt the planet by doing that, because then you're growing aloe and using pesticides. You can just use normal honey like we've been doing forever. It's great. It's great for the environment. Eat honey. And it's good for allergies. Honey's the best. I love honey. In another life, I was a beekeeper, I'm sure.
Or a bee.
Or a bee. Or a boo. Even. So many things.
So many options.
Yeah, honey's great. Okay, so we got some topics this time that's going to be based on the title. That's a first for us.
Right. Well, so I'm going to pick the how do you keep the relationship alive? I feel like the relationship talks have been pretty good lately.
Cool.
And for us, it's a little different because we've only been together 4 years.
Yeah, only 4 years.
Well,
but we can definitely speak to our experience.
An accomplishment. I wasn't trying to make it like downplay.
Yeah, no, I know. Like there's only so much you can do to talk about topics when you literally need time to accomplish it. And it wouldn't be fair of us to say, oh, here's how to have a 50-year marriage without being married for 50 years. And it would also be foolish not to talk about relationships for 50 years because there's still things you can learn at the beginning of a relationship. Right. And there's stats that say most marriages and relationships get to 7-8 years before they fall apart. That's where most divorces happen.
You said 7 to 8
years.
Oh gosh.
So
halfway there.
Well, I mean, let's not make that the halfway point.
Oh no, just like halfway to victory. Because like once we're past it, we're like,
because then we're gonna be past it and be like, stinkers.
Bitches, yeah. We passed it. What are you gonna say about it? No, I'm proud about 4 years. It's my longest relationship. So.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's fun.
Really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we can still give helpful tips because I'm sure there's people who would like to be where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so the audience knows, that's where we're at. We're at 4 years, going strong. It's really easy. We don't have many problems.
Well, we have a lot of struggles we've gone through together.
Absolutely.
But we also have a 9-year-old that we are raising together.
Mm-hmm. And that's a whole set of other challenges. So to take all that and then still be moving forward so easily is awesome.
But yeah, I feel like we could give you guys some good tips that I feel like, I mean, it just seems like stuff we do every day, but I'm sure they could be applied maybe as tips for people to help in relationships. Like I was going to say, playing video games together, I think bonds us.
Yeah,
well.
I mean, it's just having some mutual activities that we like to do on our off time. So let's start with that. Step 1, let's just choose one thing and then go down the list instead of talking about everything all at the front. Let's say like, okay, step 1, playing video games together.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that really we got into was League of Legends. And I remember in my apartment on 2 laptops. I don't know how we played like that, but
that was hard.
It was still so much fun. And
we stunk and we still stink at the games, but that's not the point. The point is that you're like doing an activity.
Yeah, you were like teaching me, so that was cool. And then if I did something cool, you would like be like, oh yeah, like have reactions. Like it was fun. It was always a fun bonding time. It's never been a fight.
Yeah, and that's something cool to note as well, is hype your partner up, especially when you're teaching them something, instead of bringing them down when they do something bad, right? Like, if she didn't play too well, I wouldn't be mad at her, but if she did something cool, it'd be really exciting, right? And that's something you should take to all facets of life, even in teaching many different things. It's like, if they don't do something well, it's not like, hey, you're in trouble, that stunk.
Yeah.
And then when they do something good, it's like, well, yeah, that's to be expected. It's like, when you do something good, even when it is to be expected, you say, oh, thanks, that's awesome, you're doing so good. And then if they do something bad, you're like, hey, don't do that, but maybe try it this way. Use it as a learning lesson. Instead of saying, hey, that was horrible, say, this is a better way to do that. You should try it this way instead. And try to reward the good behaviors and teach good behaviors instead of putting down bad behaviors.
Yeah, and just have fun with it. Like, League of Legends could be a really toxic, not fun game, and I could see people probably getting into fights over it. But you just have to not take it seriously, for one.
It's a game.
It's a game. And yeah, like you said, like, hyping each other up just makes it so much fun.
Yeah, and I would say this isn't even just for playing video games with your partners. There's a lot of people who don't do video games, but whatever it is that you do, if you go cooking or if you play board games or do puzzles, but doing something with your partner that you both enjoy doing is a good way to bond and a good way to just keep the joy going.
Yeah, and I think the next thing that made me think of is, like, spending time with each other even when someone's doing something else. Like, when you're cooking, I'm not a good cook, but I like hanging out with you, and you teach me different ways of cooking, and you'll just tell me what you're doing, or we'll talk about our day or whatever, just like spending bonding time with each other.
Yeah, and let's call that step 2. So we'll say, like, step 1 was do hobbies with your partner.
Hobbies, yeah. Hype.
And then step 2 would just be around your partner, show interest in what they're doing. Because just like you say, if I'm working out for 3 hours, you'll often come downstairs and watch your show instead of just staying upstairs. And we've seen a lot of times when couples that are struggling, they just do their own things in different rooms all day.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem like a healthy way. That doesn't seem fun.
I mean, I always want to be around him. And it's funny, I've never seen a relationship like that before growing up. And so I don't know. I love it. I love that we're always thinking of each other or talking to each other, or if we're home together, we're usually trying to coordinate. All of us hang out, like, in the same space. And
and a lot of successful couples I've seen, that's what they do. They coordinate their time. I'm getting home at this time. We're going to this place. I'm doing this. And even when you have girls' night, if you go out with your mom, or if I go out to my one friend's, if he's having a hard day and he just wants to hang out and have bro time, to be a bummed out bro or whatever it is he's going through, then we'll go and say, hey, I'm having bro time, you're going to have girl time, and then we'll plan accordingly, and we talk to each other. And
then we usually miss each other the whole time.
Yeah, we do, but it just goes to show you that a good relationship has that. It has communication, it has yearning for each other, it has planning and coordination. And you just don't want to be doing things completely separate and have separate rooms, and I do these activities, you do those, and we go about our business.
Yeah.
I would say that leads to a lot of the work husband and work wife type scenarios. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
You never spend time with your partner.
We have a different scenario because, like, I work from home, and then you're like first year of us together because COVID, so you got to be home a lot, and then even now it's like I think we get a more advantage hanging out together. Don't you think?
We do. And I mean, that just goes for the men out there trying to date, is we were only able to do that because I confront all of the bills. Yeah. And I allowed you to be in your feminine space and to enjoy life and to pursue passion that you wanted to do. And we get to work together, and she gets to enjoy our time together. And I think that does add a lot of bonding, is that she knows she has someone who's there to support her. And that's not an option for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think money's a huge stressor for a lot of relationships.
Money is the number one leading cause of divorce in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, beyond anything else.
And is it because they usually don't make enough, or they're argue because of the bills, or?
I'm sure nobody makes enough to be truly happy. And then you also don't get the quality time. So you don't make enough and you work too many hours and you don't get to spend the time together. And that's why it's so critical. Like she said, if I'm down cooking, then because I enjoy cooking, right? That she'll come and hang around. Or if I'm doing my 3-hour workout,
Right.
she'll come down and hang around unless she's doing some of her own work, but we both understand that's a thing that she's doing, and same with me. Sometimes I can't because I got to work, or I'll be editing something and I just can't be down while she's doing her workout. But if we have the time, we make it for each other. Make sure you create the time, because if you're not going to create the time, somebody else will.
Right.
And it might not be the best decision long term. It might be a big mistake to go to someone who can make time because they aren't paying the bills and doing the work. But you could still get tricked into thinking that was the good guy for them and they would leave, or the good girl. So
Yeah. And then also like valuing that time and making sure you're in a good positive mindset. Because I remember a lot of times I would lose a lot of good moments because I'd be in a negative mind space, and then it would just like hours or days.
That could be a next thing. That could be number 3 is to value the time you have, and to
value it.
Value the time you have and make sure you're in a positive space around your partner.
And if there's something like a situation brought up, you can either communicate now about it or, hold it off, but make sure you're still in the moment and valuing.
Yeah. Let's
time.
elaborate with like a story of what you're talking about so people understand that statement a little bit better.
I kind of already forgot what I said.
Yeah, she was basically saying
like
she wants
being
to
in a negative space.
Yeah, that if she's in a negative space and you come around your partner and you bring that negativity into the household, it's really just going to drag everybody down. And you could have had good times with your partner, but instead every time you're around your partner, you bring the bad times. And one thing I've noticed is some people will do that, but when they go around strangers, they don't bring the negative energy. So if they have a lot of pent up anger from work, there was bad clients, their boss yelled at them, they don't put that out on their friends. They don't put that out on their parents. They don't put that out on, other clients or their boss or their coworkers. So they end up dumping everything onto their partner, who's supposed to be their safe space. And so every time you're around your partner, you're just reminded of everything that negative that happened today will come to me. And that's going to make for a negative household. So it's good to be able to learn to balance your emotions and be like, when I'm home with my partner. The good that you're going to get out of that is going to overwhelmingly destroy the bad that you had through the day, if you let it. So have positive times with your partner. Don't vent all the negative times. Is like, if there's not a solution to it, just be like, I'm with my partner now. I'm finally safe. I'm finally happy. And let it be a happy time. Don't drag everyone down.
Also, though, I think there would be times where you would come home and want to vent about work. And I think that would be okay. But just allowing your partner to vent, but don't like get negative because they had a negative day, still be the positive for them. Just because they're like home venting to you doesn't mean they're like angry at you.
Yeah.
They just want to vent to you because you're their person to go to for everything.
Yeah. And it's good to remind your partner to be positive, because you can vent and then you say, hey, now look at the bright side because we're together. So knock it off. Let's have fun.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Just help them get back into the mindset, because then if you're like, oh, well, you just had a bad day. Now I'm going to have a bad day.
That's our day now. It's just bad.
Everyone's angry.
Every day is just bad then.
Yeah.
Because every day is hard. That's life. I mean.
Right. Yeah.
Welcome to it. If you're new, that's life.
That's life.
It's hard.
It's a little difficult.
Okay, so that's step 3. Bring positivity into your household. Leave your work baggage at work. Your life baggage at...
I think that was number 4.
That was number 4?
Yeah,
No.
3 was value your time.
I think value your time was mixed with the leave your stuff at work. Because if you're valuing your time, it's because you're there and you left your stuff at work.
I'm just getting confused
Next
now.
one.
Hey, it's almost 4:20. We'll have to cheers.
Nice.
But next advice. I was going to put communication in there. Like, always you've been so good at like messaging me throughout the day. How are you? Before we were dating. And I think that's important if you can. A lot of people I know, they work and they can't. But, the little breaks you have, if you can, or you just got off work, like, oh, it's such a busy day, I'm on my way home. Just little communications, I think, go a long way.
Yeah, I could see that. And like sometimes when I'll come home and something will be clean that I didn't expect, because she was in the mood, I'll really appreciate and enjoy that.
That's a little different. Yeah, that I love when you acknowledge that. We try to acknowledge each other if one of us does something like the dishes or the laundry. We try to be like, oh, thanks for doing that.
And for some people out there, if it's a traditional household, let's say, and it's the man's job to pay all the bills and they've got to work overtime every night and they're always swamped, and it's the wife's job to do all the house chores, let's say, 100%.
Oh, 420 blaze it.
Nice. And let's just say 100% and 100% just for the story. Because a lot of times things are split and shared. She'll also work and he'll also clean from time to time. But there's different tasks that people do in the house. And even though that is your designed role, it's like I said I will do dishes every time, and you said you would pay these bills every time. It still goes a long way to thank them for doing the role.
Right, yeah.
Even though it's an expectation, it's an appreciated expectation.
You still have to tell them you appreciate them, just because it's like you told them one time. You don't say, I love you one time and then don't ever say it again.
You don't say thanks for doing the dishes. And they're like, well, you're supposed to be doing the dishes. I pay the bills. And she should be like, well, thanks for working so hard for us, And both of those go a long way, because the alternative is you do all of it yourself. The man pays all the bills and does all the cleaning. The woman pays all her bills and does all of her cleaning if you guys are separated. So it's still an appreciated thing, even though it is the other person's job. So definitely nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So be appreciative towards your partner and communicate throughout the day. I think those are two different things. So it's 4 and 5.
Yeah, we were kind of mixing two things. But that's okay.
Yeah, when we make the YouTube video, we'll write the list down. We'll actually make a script. These podcasts are cool, just off the cuff,
I know, yeah. We're going to eventually be throwing in other videos too with our daily podcast.
We're going to grow it as we continue to go. These are just daily things you can listen to on the way to work to keep yourself positive, to remind yourself of the little things that you don't do with your partner. And everybody has different love languages, I've heard.
Oh yeah, they do. Definitely. Yours is a physical touch for sure. For sure. And then I think also, what is it? Acts of service or something. Also like doing the dishes and stuff. Like without me asking you or vice versa. And then the touch thing. We always like to be touching. I love that.
And some couples don't. And it's not to say that they're wrong either.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
These are just from our experience, what we've seen and what we've seen from other couples that are really doing great.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring up how we are always physically touching each other and stuff, but I know that's not for everybody. But I think that does help with us keeping our relationship.
I for sure think it helps bond people.
Yeah.
Look, every single retreat you see for couples, it involves some coach reminding people to hug. So if that doesn't speak volumes that people are paying tens of thousands of dollars to tell you to touch your partner, then maybe you should just do it and take the advice.
Right. Yeah. And other things too. Yeah. That definitely helps keep the relationship alive.
Yeah. Do those things. No sleeping on the couch.
No.
Do the adult
Don't
things.
go to bed angry. That's such an old saying, but I like that saying.
Yeah.
It's not good to go to bed with each other angry, or go do your work the whole day angry at each other, because you never know what's going to happen. You always want to I feel try to resolve the issue if you can. And even if not, still be well, I love you. Still.
Yeah, I love you. You stink, but I love you.
Yeah.
I'll be up in the morning. We'll talk about this, but you still stink, but we're still fine. At least you have that reassurance that you're both in the same team, both going the same way. Still might not be happy about something, but at least you're on the same team.
Yeah, same team. Because sometimes I think people forget when you live with someone, and I don't know, if obviously people aren't going to be thinking the exact same way. So... sorry, lost my train of thought. Now I lost my train of thought.
All right, you're cut off. You're done. No more podcasting for you.
One little thing distracts my brain, and then I'm also getting jazzy. What was I talking about? You don't even know?
Next.
You weren't listening to me. How are you supposed to know? Something about our brains not thinking the same. And
you don't think the same, you're on the same team.
Same team. And if your partner is like ever like says something or challenges you, I should say, don't like still remember that they're on your team, because your partner is supposed to challenge you.
Yeah, and you shouldn't agree with everything your partner does.
Right.
You're not the same people, and B, you don't want the same ideas and opinions as your partner.
Exactly, because then because the challenges help you just change as a person, and like we've spoke about in prior podcasts, change is good.
Yeah, and think about it this way. What if all teachers were just math teachers? That wouldn't be very good for students to grow up learning different skills besides math. You need multiple teachers. And so to have a family unit that has different opinions, one's the math teacher and one's the English and history teacher, well, now you can actually learn different facets of life and you're going to have different opinions.
Yeah.
Coming from different experiences that are both valid. And one may be right, one may be wrong. And also both might be wrong and both might be right for different reasons.
Yeah. So y'all are definitely going to have moments where y'all are challenging each other and it'll feel like an argument, but just always remind yourself that you're on the same team. You know?
Even though you don't agree.
Even
But
if
you don't have to agree. You shouldn't.
Exactly.
You shouldn't always agree with your partner.
Right. That's just not realistic.
It really isn't.
And people have to put those, I don't know how to say it, those high standards away, you know?
Yeah. Drop the high standards.
Yeah.
Your partner's not perfect. You're not perfect. But you could be perfect for each other in how not perfect you are.
Okay. So we've got a good few lists of things. Anything else on the list of how to keep the relationship alive?
I think one thing that helps keep the relationship alive is date nights. And we don't often get like a lot of date nights in time, but we'll go to a nice restaurant on like a Thursday because we happen to have a little bit of budget money left over, which doesn't happen often. And so for any of you out there being like, I wish I had budget money, you guys can get sandwiches and go to a park. You know, there's so many things that you can do with your partner that doesn't involve a budget.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we have $100, we'll go and eat somewhere
sushi.
cool.
Yeah.
Eat sushi. And being able to do that and make sure you plan time for your partner because life is busy. And so on those date nights, it's like, well, it's been 2 weeks. We need to go out and do something. Or if it's on a weekend, we need to stop and like watch a movie together.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So make sure you have planned dates. Because if you don't plan your time, it won't happen. And you can prioritize your partner, you can prioritize your work, you can prioritize yourself and your relaxation. And if you prioritize you playing video games by yourself and not your partner, you're going to separate yourself from your partner because you're playing games. So make sure you say, I could play an hour of Call of Duty by myself, or I could spend an hour with my partner doing something else. Do that one instead. That keeps it fresh. And it's still fun.
Yeah, and there are still moments where you want to play a game and I just want to like watch TikToks and stuff too, but we're still together.
Yeah.
And I like those moments too.
Yeah, because you can also have fun in silence. Like
have fun, do your own thing. Yeah, but still do it together.
Yeah. You don't have to be doing the same thing all the time. I'm sure that would get exhausting. I'm sure a lot of times that would get exhausting.
Yeah, plus like we said, people aren't the same, so you wouldn't have the same interests.
Yeah, that could be really dull.
I'm trying to think of something I like that you don't like, but I can't think of any.
I mean, I don't scroll social media to start. So like I don't like looking at all the TikToks.
Yeah, we watch YouTube. That's like the equivalent.
Yeah, we just watch different things though. That's what I'm getting at. It's like we do different things there.
What else is different? You have a mustache.
I have a mustache. It's the big difference. Is I have a mustache.
Some people like to come in the chat and be like, "Y'all look alike," and I'm like,
"Yeah, it's because we're both black."
Stop.
My God, what?
I thought you were gonna say because of the mustache. Jeez,
well,
Louise.
You don't have a mustache, babe. You're Italian, but you don't have a mustache.
I know I don't. That's the joke.
It's the joke, yeah.
But maybe it's the glasses. I don't know why people say that. Unless it's just being a troll. Most likely.
That's welcome to the internet, being a troll. Oh, and we do this. We podcast together.
Yeah, that definitely helps keep it interesting.
Yeah, that was one thing we were talking about when we started the podcast and wanted it to be about relationships, is that one day it would be really cool if we had a platform with really positive relationship mentors, because that would help us grow into our 50 years together. And it's impossible to know what lies ahead for us, but as long as we can acknowledge that we're going to be able to work through it together and have good mentors giving good advice, and they say, hey, we've been together for 50 years, here's good steps, we can relay that information to you. And if we keep talking about it and keep reminding ourselves to put the relationship at the forefront, it's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And working out has also been a good thing to keep our relationship fresh. Because as we get older, we break down more, our backs hurt more, you have less energy. So being able to work out, have energy for each other is great. And to have fitness goals with each other is great because you can keep each other on it.
Yeah. Plus, working out is just good for other things too, because it helps get rid of like stresses that you're having and anxieties and anger. And, it's a good. And it's good for you. So, yeah.
And you also have to imagine, if you're bored and you have nothing to do, you're going to invent problems. Like humans just do that by nature. Like you're bored. You just invent stuff to fight about. If you're working out, you're tired and you're doing something. You're not going to fight about, oh, there's a dot on the floor. You're going to be like, man, I'm whooped. Where's my partner? I want to cuddle. I'm tired.
Yeah. And with us, I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we had a good list for how to keep the relationship alive.
So what's the top takeaways, the brief recap?
We're going to recap? I can't remember what I was just about to say.
Good point. Y'all can rewatch it.
Go ahead. What was number one?
Number one is play games with your partner.
Okay, number two.
Number two is that spend time with your partner when they're doing things you're not interested in. Like if they're cooking, you're there and hanging with them.
Okay, number three.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It was like a list of 20.
20.
It was like a list of 20
It was
things.
like 7 or 8.
Yeah, but it's a good list of things to do, at least to start. But that makes it easy for us. And like y'all know, she's got her leg kicked up on me and we're just chilling, hanging out. And we talk a lot. We talk a lot.
Oh my gosh, he sends me voice. He'll send me like 7-minute voice messages.
I'm bad at
5-minute voice messages. No, I love it. I love it when you're like driving and stuff, and because you can't text.
Yeah.
But then when you're supposed to be working.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, I am working, but I'll sit on a forklift and think for 15 minutes, but then I'll do that 10 times, and that's 10 times 15 minutes of me, like, not getting my stuff done. So I'll end up at the shop until, like, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
But I love it.
That's one of those moments you tell your partner to go shove it because you're busy. But
I have to sometimes.
Yeah.
And then that even doesn't work. I'll be like, okay, get to work. And then voice message. I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, it's like 2 minutes. But I love it. I love it because I know you're thinking of me and you always want to tell me everything. I always want to tell you everything.
Yeah.
You're my go-to person. So.
And I'm sure eventually in time you run out of things to say, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
I don't see how. Especially because, that's what I was going to say. Because we have a business together, we're never bored.
We're growing, yeah.
Because we're growing. So I think, not saying you have to have a business together, but maybe start a project or something.
Farm,
something, yeah.
Yeah, do something that takes time to build. And that's like the same thing with fitness goals. You're not going to get a six-pack in a year unless you were already pretty close. It's going to take you a long time to hit your fitness goals. So if you have long-term goals with your partner, by the time you finish one, well, you're not going to look at each other and be like, oh, we finished our goal. I guess we're done. It's like, well, can you do another thing? Can you raise the farm? Can you raise the kids?
Yeah.
By having different long-term goals, it keeps things fresh.
Definitely.
Because never stop learning. Like, at what point did adults just forget that you're allowed to keep learning?
A lot of adults stopped learning.
They did.
I stopped learning for a little bit.
They're like, oh, man, I don't want to change. And I'm like, why don't you want to change? Like, you changed very, very dramatically from 0 to 10. Very dramatically from 10 to 20. But from 20 to 30, you're not supposed to change? You're not supposed to learn anymore?
Yeah.
Then 30 to 40, what's the difference?
Right.
The only thing you learn is that your back hurts more. You're like, well, that's a lame lesson to learn, and it took you 10 years to figure that one out, that you should have been stretching every day.
Right.
So Definitely put goals out there,
that's a good
businesses,
one.
farms, hobbies, something you aren't very good at that you and your partner are both interested in learning.
Yeah.
And then just pursue that.
Learn a language
Make
together.
that the passion. Because if your passion is just your partner, I think that's kind of a little bit of codependence. Like our passion is like in the things that we do together.
Exactly. That's all we
it's
talk
cool.
about.
Yeah, we're not like, oh, your eyes again. I can't believe it's your hair, the way you smell as you pass by me. Like, that's not what we talk about, right? We're talking
sometimes.
about.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, he talks to me like that sometimes. Lady.
Oh my God. Just give me a fedora. Jeez Louise. I don't talk like that.
You gotta have
everybody.
that be one of your personalities. You put the
No.
fedora on. And you're
Oh
like,
God.
my lady.
No, I shave my neck beard, babe. That's ridiculous. Not doing that. That is 1,000%.
No judgment. All jokes. All jokes. I love
She
it.
doesn't judge. I do though. So you're doomed. I'm judging pretty hefty
Well-
fine on the judgment. Look, you get both sides. You get what you,
You
want.
get both. Yeah. Yin
This
and yang.
podcast, you get everything you need. You get judgment or no judgment. What do you want? We got both.
What do you want from me?
Judgment, no judgment.
All right.
things.
Let's wrap this up. Ready?
Goodbye.
Yay. Guffaw.
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 It worked. See, you
It
laughed.
worked. Okay. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Okay, it's food time, y'all. Now we're gonna go cook.
So hungry.
She'll watch me cook because we vibe. Bye.
Bye.